Hey, Jeremy.
Good morning, Mike. Or Mason.
Hey. Hey, how
Hi,
are you today, man?
I'm good today. Yeah, it's been a bit of a wet morning, but lovely.
Like a wet Comox morning?
Yeah, wet Comox morning. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that's okay. I just, well, it's good to see you today anyway. What, what were you
yeah, it's
thinking?
good to see you today.
Yeah, thanks, man. What were you thinking we should maybe discuss? Do you have any ideas?
Um, well, one was like transitioning from a certain way of living to another, or transitioning from a certain space of focus into another. And so, because in the Kabbalah, there's different kind of spheres or different places or dimensions, and the path is just as important. So the journey is almost as important as the destination.
Yeah, and transitions being a part of that.
Yeah, that is the transition, the road between destinations.
Mm-hmm. If we truly do go on and live eternally and we're eternal beings, then yeah, like the transitions are pretty significant, going from a human to a spirit, from a spirit to a human to whatever else is possible. I'm sure anything could be possible in the time span of eternity. So I just think a transition is a huge part of that pattern, this eternal pattern. Like I'm always trying to understand what are some real
Yeah,
truths, like what it's made of, like what are we actually looking at here? And it's really hard to pin down or say something that's really, really, really true that can't be questioned. But it seems like transitions are something that are really, really, really true. Yeah.
you mean in relation to who we are?
Well, like in relation to everything, I'm talking about everything right now. So, like just the concept of eternity or infinite or what,
Yeah,
the size of spirit. But I'm sure what we're talking about, or maybe a good part to focus on is like yeah, ourselves or transitioning ourselves. Like the other end of the spectrum for me is okay, so it's like maybe we're eternal and have different lives for eternity. That's like the biggest end of the spectrum. Maybe the
yeah,
smallest end is like transitioning from like one mood to a next, or from work to home, or from one conversation to another, within ourselves. Yeah.
yeah. That's another part of transition. Yeah,
Yeah.
shifting gears
What
from home and work. Yeah.
I could talk about transitioning from a mood to a mood, or maybe like a thought space to a thought space,
Yeah.
probably all day. So I would talk about that, but were you thinking of anything else that's like super important to transitions you wanted to talk about or say?
Oh no, transitions in with moods, for example. Transitions with energy centers within the body. So if we're focusing on the heart, then we move up to the third eye to focus. Then we're we're creating a transition, or from the heart to the lower. Yeah, which also has to do with moods as well.
I guess something I just thought of is that there's controlled transitions and not controlled transitions, voluntary and involuntary.
Yeah,
Thinking about moods, you know? So it's like, yeah, a lot of times the anxiety comes on or the depression comes on or some, you know, below par type of feeling comes
yeah,
on from ourselves or external forces, and then can be challenging to make a voluntary decision, a voluntary transition, like from that place to a better place. So, yeah, now that we're
yeah,
thinking about it, transitioning from a bad place to a good place is one of my favorite topics. It's one of my, I'd love to know all the secrets I could know about that or all the tools I could know about that for this life.
yeah. How to transition from that's from a negative emotion to a positive,
Yeah.
or is it like just to change moods?
I mean, yeah, just to like change moods. The thing that came to mind was, people getting stuck, people getting stuck in anxiety. Can you hear my old, sorry, I've got an old phone ringing. You can hear it.
Yeah.
Sorry, one sec. I think it'll stop ringing. I'm in an office. I'm in a shared space. I'm in an office today where there's an old phone tied to the wall.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh,
nice. Those
yeah, it's
old
okay.
style
I'm hanging
phones.
it. Yeah, I'm in an old farmhouse today, so there's lots of old eclectic stuff lying around. An old guitar,
Cool.
old phone to the wall, really old computer, which is still futuristic, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like in transition right now. I don't know if you could like this isn't my normal background. I've been
Yeah.
traveling. Yeah, I was in the United States, just over the border, just briefly, and now I'm just back over the border. So it was like a short distance of
Yeah.
transition, but it felt so deep. Like it felt like such a big transition, you know? Even even though the Canada and the United States are so similar in some ways, and you go down there and it's like felt like I fit in with the people really well, but it still felt like a big transition. Still felt like a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, what I was getting at though when the phone was ringing was that yeah, it comes up a lot in therapy, or it just comes up. It comes up a lot even in my own life. Discomfort or anxiety or a rattled nervous system or ongoing thoughts, default mode network, automatic brain just takes over. All those names like kind of talk about the same thing for me. But then to move from that to a better place, a calmer place, like a clearer place, a more meditative space, something we practice here, and all those things kind of relatively talk about the same thing for me. So I
Yeah.
think it's just a big topic. I think it happens for everybody all the time.
Yeah. Well, how to shift your mood from when you wake up,
Yeah,
grumpy. How to shift your mood, transition.
yeah, yeah. So, and it's like, so that's kind of a big journey. That's kind of a job. So it's like, I mean, what are some of the methods? It's like, well, breath work. We could talk about breathing techniques to shift your mood, but then it's even trickier than that because you kind of have to have practice, right? And I know that we do some of that. And
Yeah.
so I could tell you simply, take some deep breaths. That'll that'll transition your mood. But even practicing it, seeing if it really works for you, trying it in a situation where you do have anxiety or your biology is kind of taken over,
Yeah.
and it makes it really hard. I mean, so I guess all the concepts can be talked about well, but some of the actual tools like breath work or stretching or releasing your trauma or talk therapy, those things could take a while.
Yeah, they can. I know that there's also ways of switching like nearly instantly. So even though most take a long time, there's a way that um, basically in your mind's eye that no matter what, where you are, you're not actually stuck. And no matter how people they might believe that they're stuck, that actually they're not really. And that's basically down to um, a formula of E equals MC squared, which is from Einstein.
How does that relate? How does that relate to being unstuck?
Um, that things are perpetually in motion, more or less. Like even the small cells in our body are made out of little tiny protons and neutrons and electrons that move around, and so they're spinning as well. So on our anatomy side, if we go down to the smallest little pieces of ourselves, they're all moving, they're all buzzing, and so in in line with that, then we're not stuck unless we believe we're stuck.
When you explain it that way, when you explain that way, feeling stuck makes it feel like it's pretty conceptual only, like it's the mind only.
Yeah, that freezes us. Yeah. So I was wondering for transitioning from uh, a negative mood into a positive mood, what would be a technique that you'd recommend?
Uh, I was just reading a comment there, but what? Ask that again, Jeremy. Sorry.
For transitioning from a negative mood into a positive mood, what sort of things do you recommend?
The main tricks I try to go through are trying to like shake it out. Let's say you're let's look like I keep mentioning anxiety or worry or doubt, you know. I want I want to use my body. I want to use the energy of my body to like spread out the energy of the thought. So sometimes I can get stuck in a thought as we're talking about it, it's like mostly mine. I feel like the more I think about it, the more I just go into my mind and the more I go into that thought and then that thought grows and starts to eventually spread through my body and like make my body uncomfortable because, that's adrenaline really. So trying to move my body and trying to engage my body in any way that I can. So it's like the best things are to go for a walk, to do some deep breathing, to do some stretching, to doing some like mindfulness practice in a way is as in like releasing or like trying to drop the mind. But even like rapid eye movement desensitization, that therapy, where
Yeah.
again, you're stuck in your head, you're thinking, that's activating certain parts of the brain. And then when you like move your eyes up and down, left and right, and you get your senses involved, that activates different regions of the brain. So, now you've just got different regions of the brain firing because you're moving your body, you're moving your eyes, like you're engaging your physical nature. And so when you activate different parts of the brain, that can just sometimes be enough to change the thoughts you're having or the quality of thoughts you're having. So
Yeah.
that's the main concept. And like I said, either stretching, breath work, high intensity workout, those those things. And another thing I want to say on it is like medium to light exercise is good, but heavy exercise like a sprint, like 20 seconds sprinting or power blasting exercises, those
Yeah.
those can release opioids like in your spinal system. I was talking to a neurologist this like recently. I had some cool appointments. They were telling me that. They were telling me that high intensity workouts, like a short blast, a short stint, releases uh, releases some naturally produced, naturally occurring opioids in your system. I know that
Yeah.
even mild exercise or a walk can release dopamine. I know a hug from someone, a long extended hug or physical touch from somebody, if you have a friend or a partner, that can release oxytocin. So
Yeah.
trying to switch the bad chemicals like adrenaline, uh, let your body process that and trade that in for dopamine or serotonin, something like those chemicals.
Yeah.
That's that's like a switch, a switcheroo that I try to aim for.
Yeah. I've heard that movement makes a difference.
I feel like we have a whole pharmacy of healing chemicals in our own body, and if we activate them through, good sleep, good nutrition, like eating what we can, having some purpose, having some fulfillment, having connection with friends, all of these things contribute to smooth transitions. They contribute to not being stuck. And not everyone has all of those things as much as they want. I know like a lot of people are lacking in those things, which is like what we're talking about, which is where sometimes even a lot of problems come from. And so like starting at all those places, these are all good projects, all great topics for different times to start at any one, but like how's your sleep going? Like how
Yeah.
does sleep even interact with oh, so I guess someone's at the door. uh yeah, hopefully they're doing well. Those little
Yeah.
snappers. But
Yeah. Little snappers.
yeah. So you start at like maybe sleep hygiene or understanding why sleep is good or how sleep helps you repair your brain and helps you replenish those chemicals. Like maybe that's a project you want to work on that takes a while that eventually contributes to better moods, less anxiety, easier transitions. Maybe it's hard making friends. Maybe that's a project, Um, so yeah, I don't know. Learning to cook better meals to feed yourself better and trying to find ways to like make that enjoyable. I remember when I was eating like bachelor style, you know, pizza and ramen noodles all the time, and people would say, "Oh, like you should learn to cook," or "Can't you cook better?" And I would try to cook better, and sometimes it's not some things you don't want to just toughen up and just do. Like, cooking's sure, cooking is a thing in life that you got to do, and if you don't do it, like you're kind of screwed. But there's ways to make it enjoyable. There's ways to make it like less like a chore and more enjoyable, even if you're not a born chef and you're trying to just create an interest in something out of nowhere. It's like kind of possible.
Yeah. And nourishing yourself, of course, as we know, is important. Bring
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
whole fruits and vegetables, whole nuts and seeds. Yeah, and it can be fun cooking. It can be a little bit daunting, but how did you find for cooking? What made you more excited? So what was the transition for you then, where you were wanting to cook and then knowing that you needed to cook for yourself, you needed to eat better. What was the transition for that?
Like it was it was when life, I suppose, started to really just demand more of me. And so when I just started having to work harder and working at jobs that required a lot of energy, a lot of physical labor, I could see immediately that the pizza and Mr. Noodles and fast food was like not enough energy. It was like not enough fuel. So I couldn't even do certain things as I moved into like basically being an adult, which is still a decade long plus transition. Even now, when
Yeah,
I'm 37 years old, I'm still practicing that, still trying to define like what's an adult and how do I move into that? And is that what everyone's doing? Is that what we're like, is that what we all care about here? Um, and then like the spiritual natured conversations say, well, never lose your childhood. So the child in you. That's a balancing
yeah,
act. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, just when I started to see, oh, there's a difference in, eating something healthy and like not. Yeah. I I went to so where I'm at now in life is way back in 2013, I went to this really neat health retreat conscious place and I went there to work. I went there to do a work exchange where I would get to learn some stuff and partake in the program if I volunteered. And I got to do a juice fast for the first time. So really cool cold pressed juice like broccoli and kale and apple and beets and
oh yeah,
super awesome high quality juice um, that was made with organic vegetables down in Costa Rica. It was just this totally new food source my body had never been introduced to before. So I went
yeah,
like five days on a juice fast, which was like pretty extreme for me, and I never experienced that ever. And the medicine man down there is telling me, eventually your digestive tract takes a break from digesting all that fast food and crap and heavy meat.
yeah,
And some of that excess energy goes into your brain. And so there was a time during that juice fast for a few days where I felt super clear, super sharp, super capable. I had lots of energy. I had enough energy to do some light workouts. Uh, and I never like I just I felt that so kind of vigorously. And I thought, wow, I'm just changing what I put into my body. I'm still going to bed at the same time. I'm still doing all the other same stuff. So just by changing what I put in my body and I could see what a drastic difference it made was compelling. And now like I don't do juice fast all the time and I'm still trying to just I'm in the middle of that, right? Like just trying to get health into my diet and eat the bad stuff as little as I can. So I'm not
yeah.
flying high like juice fast clarity all the time. But that's where I'm at now. And yeah, for sure what you put in affects everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So you found the middle way.
I guess I'm
That's really
always trying to
interesting.
find, yeah,
The
yeah,
juice
sorry.
fasting. Well, how when you fast, when it's healthy like that, it's a healthy fast, how much clarity can happen. Clarity, and it's this different, it's kind of almost a psychedelic experience. It's like um, being awake and aware and all your senses being crisp, everything standing out.
I thought about that. I thought, oh, what can I compare this to? And everything I know about or have known about the psychedelic experience, it would be like that. I would call it like what those two things have in common is they're just altered states. There's something you've ingested, and it
Yeah.
has an effect on your brain, your thinking power, the quality of your thoughts. And yeah, like anything can happen when you've got a perspective change for a period of time. But it
Yeah.
felt like that. It felt like a different version of that, like some altered state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's often why food, how food can make a difference. We can
Def
change our state quite easily. And
yeah.
when we look into um, more Vedic types, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, there's different types of how the food affects you. So, like, food has actions. And so, for example, ice has the action, it's cold and slippery and wet, and it has the action of falling down because cold goes
Yeah.
down. And whereas, like, a jalapeno, even though jalapeno is cold, it could be freezing cold, its nature is spicy. And so its action is warming and rising, which is one reason why when people eat a lot of jalapenos, that why they might get hiccups or get the sweats. And so that's how, on a subtle scale, we can start to notice how different foods affect us and make us lighter or heavier, or they can be important for transition, for mood. For example, someone might find blueberries are a very happy food for them. They're these nice little balls, and they actually they do have a beneficial effect on the brain, of course, but it's just the actual act of eating them that makes people happy. And so there's different food that might make us more heavy. And so that's part of the challenges, is finding out what the food does to you. And so when we're going to eat food, for example, in Chinese medicine, there's five main categories of food. They called the five elements. So food that's very fiery is going to be very hot and quick moving. Food that's it can be damp, and damp food is heavy, slow, and cloying.
Right.
And that's one reason why, if they eat too much cheese or heavy sticky stuff, then the heavier, then the like too much yeast as well. Yeast is also a dampness pathogen. So if someone eats too much damp type foods, then everything in them starts to become damp. And so same thing with if they live in a damp environment and they're eating damp stuff, then they often can get very damp. and that makes them very heavy and slow, or it can
Yeah.
make people heavy and slow. And so to counter the damp, they would use spice. If it was damp out, that's where like things like cinnamon and ginger are helpful because they're warming and they've got a bit
Yeah.
of fire in them.
Yeah, I was just okay, cinnamon and ginger. I just wanted to ask you because
Yeah,
Christy's always mentioning that we live in the like the climate in the wintertime on Vancouver Island where we are can be quite kind of damp. So
yeah,
she was talking about wanting to go somewhere hot, like on the equator somewhere, to dry out.
yeah.
So I was wondering like what if because not everyone can just pack up and jump down to the equator. So how can you maybe dry out when you're in a wetter climate? Yeah, cinnamon, ginger, and like any more?
Orange peel is a very common one. Yeah, take the peel of an orange, take an orange, wash it, and then take the peel and then make a tea with it.
Okay.
That makes a difference. Putting orange and making orange peel tea. That has
And
the
then
nature of orange has the nature of emulsifying fat, so it
yeah.
breaks apart damp. The same way with
Um
in palm olive, the kind of ads when they showed the dish soap and they put the couple drops in and then it makes the fat go to the side.
oh yeah. Yes.
That's yeah, well, that's a because it's a emulsifier. Emulsifier is something that breaks apart fats, and so the oil and orange peel is an emulsifier. So it helps to break apart fats, which also in Chinese medicine, fat is damp, fat is heavy, sticky, and so orange we know as has an acid in it that emulsifies fat, but it also is used for in breaking up phlegm. So if a little kid has a snotty nose, then making them orange peel tea would be great of any age, actually.
Good for snotty nose, cold and stuff.
Orange peel tea, yeah,
Because that's building up mucus fat like type
yeah.
emulsifying stuff. Yeah. Do you think do you think you'd ever make a playlist or share more? Like, are you gonna share everything you know about Chinese medicine here, like with everyone on Courses for Spirit? Because it's
Yeah,
super
eventually.
interesting. It's really
Yeah,
interesting when you
on the road.
do. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Okay,
Chinese
so
food is amazing. It's so beautiful. Actually, and so is Ayurvedic medicine. Is also quite beautiful in the different ways of looking at nature. Again, in Chinese medicine, there's transition, right? And in Ayurvedic medicine, there's also transition. Just like the seasons, people think that there's just four seasons, right? Spring, summer, winter, um, spring,
fall, like yeah, spring,
autumn,
summer, all
fall.
fall,
Yeah,
autumn, whatever.
yeah. And what people don't realize is that there's also transition seasons. So there's a season. Imagine like summer is full summer. It's full. It's you know, it's bright. It's the utmost yang. Summer solstice is on that day, and then after that, there's actually a season between peak of summer and between autumn. There's actually a season in the middle there. There's actually a season in the middle from like where it's winter to before spring arrives. And that's usually celebrated as something called first light, where like candles will be lit. And it's kind of like the first waking up of the seeds in the soil even before the winter thaws. So there's a transition season between winter and spring. And actually that's often when a lot of people get colds, is at the start of the transition season. So they'll get a cold. So main winter finishes, and then the season between winter and spring begins, and then people get colds in that season. And the same thing with from um, from autumn to winter. The transition season is often when people get sick. So
Yeah, I didn't really.
the weather also goes crazy as well.
Yeah, I didn't know those many transitions were even there. I didn't even know those many transitions were even there.
Yeah, well, most people don't, but it's like um, night and day. So you have twilight, which is transition, right? Which would be dawn or dusk. That's the point when the energies are in the middle. It's like the energy of the dark is there. And then as it starts becoming light, there's that moment of equanimity when it's not fully bright and it's not fully dark. It's a kind of equanimity season. And then it's full day, and the same thing in the nighttime. When the sun sets, then it becomes equal between the sun being full and the night being full. So it's right in between. There's a transition there as well. And that's one reason why it's often said it's important to meditate during sunrise and sunset if you can, because you're there for that transition of energy without the full blast of the sun or the full dark of the night. It's that in between. And that in between, it's also, there's an equanimity, there's a kind of equal pressures, let's say equal pressure or no pressure, that allows for a different kind of view on the spiritual world as well.
And that's why sun gazing is kind of really important.
Yeah, that's part of it.
I think I've heard that we've got that that chemical, the dimethyltryptamine, the DMT, that could be naturally produced in our bodies, naturally produced in our sleep, or it's this, I think it's the theta state, when we're just waking up in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I feel I, that's a really interesting transition, just waking up in the morning when you're either theta state, or if you've had a good sleep and maybe you've got dream stuff happening. Maybe it is DMT being processed in your brain. But that time between, like, going from horizontal to vertical and getting up out of your bed and going from like fuzzy to clear, that fuzzy time always seems really important for me. That fuzzy time seems like whatever I do in that time shapes the rest of the day. Like it has a linger. I mean, I've just taken super clear notes of when I've woken up and just given into a bunch of crappy thoughts. And I kind of
yeah,
have a really crappy morning, and sometimes because of that, a crappy day. And I've felt the times when I've had really positive thoughts and like stopped bad thoughts, and I just let my energy wake up and feel good.
Yeah.
quite a bit. Yeah. And then of course I've had so many mornings where I'm not paying attention to any of that stuff. So I don't, you know, but the times I do, it makes a difference.
Yeah. When we're in that from first waking until when we're up fully conscious, there's different stages that our brain might go through. So theta is one of them. Beta is one of them. Alpha is one of them. And so alpha tends to be like a little bit like waking dream. And where when we're watching TV, we're often put into alpha state. So kind of like a light drenched state. And so when we're in bed, because we're there, we can have a conversation with our subconscious mind, and we can put in messages that we want to. For example, if we're in that morning stage, between first waking up and being fully awake, when we're in that in kind of in between zone, then
Yeah.
at that point, people can do lucid dreaming, for example, where they can go back to sleep and then go into a dream world, or people can use that space to rewrite or write some of the deep subconscious part of the brain as well.
Is there a way you and I could practice that sometime on a whole episode here where it's like there's singing bowls or a video we play or a chant we do or a meditation we do where we go into an alpha state with an intention to shape or uplift our consciousness, like our
Yeah,
subconscious, like as you were saying?
yeah,
Like
where
that'd
we
be
can
cool.
go into an alpha state and rewrite our subconscious.
Yeah. Alpha state, beta, theta, delta, gamma. I think that's the order there. And gamma is like super high frequency, like
Yeah,
epiphanies happening, not sustainable for long, but like, yeah, like we're talking about this juice fasting or the psychedelic state where you have moments of, or a whole time period of like, everything's clear and makes sense and it's synchronistic and flowing and the words are just grand. So, yeah. Uh, Speaking of all this states and subconscious and having an influence and all that, do you want to do one of us a meditation? Just I know we're maybe like getting close to time, or if you want to extend the time or lead out with that time. I kind of, but I it feels like I kind of interrupted even the flow there. We're getting into like cool topics, which I wish we could keep talking about.
yeah. I wish we could keep talking about them too,
Yeah.
but everything's got its time. And how about for now, we transition into meditation?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. I'm happy to lead, but I'm in the mood to maybe like hear something that you might want to share or a guide that you want to do. Tell me how you feel, honestly.
I feel like I can lead something.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Just
I
trying to
also like
like,
I also like your meditations as well.
hey, hey, I know. I'm trying to like really feel subtly. It feels like a 50-50 vote, and I'm trying to like, what's the
Yeah,
51-49% here? That's
yeah.
okay. Yeah. It's okay. Well, here, I'll just I'm gonna hog the mic then, and I'm gonna do one. Uh Sounds like
Okay.
you may not mind, so I'm just gonna go for it.
No.
And yeah, we'll do a transitional meditation. But
Okay.
okay, I just want to have one quick look at our comments for a second. Uh, Jeremy filling Caroline experiments. Me, yeah, this is funny. Just like our Jane Doe is funny. Um, but yeah, okay. Let's just let's just try this because like we're about to transition. We're about to transition like from here, you know, to there to our next thing in life. Even if we're gonna just sit here and continue a meditation as the group closes, or if you're gonna get up and go do anything else. So let's just try to notice what this transition is gonna be like. So thanks for today, Jeremy. Loved hanging with you. I'm glad for everyone that came online. I'm glad for our comments. Appreciate you guys. Um, appreciate you, Jane Doe. But yeah, if you want to get comfortable, or if you are comfortable, let's just notice what's going to happen for this transition. Let's just begin by noticing the transition into a meditative state, into a meditative moment. As we're aware that we're about to transition from this space into our own space or a different space, the schedule of the day coming, we'll notice what's happening in our bodies, what happens automatically as we prepare for that. But bringing it down from the transition from conscious discussion to closed eyes, internal space. Try to notice that transition. Try to notice the transition from engaging with the group, from engaging with Jeremy or engaging with me, to engaging with yourself. Your ears might still be with me, but how does it feel when the rest of you transitions inward? How does it feel to go from being eyes open to eyes closed? What do you notice when you close your eyes but open your third eye? What do you see? What do you feel when you close your eyes and you open your heart? Would a deep breath make this transition more comfortable? Would a deep breath or two make this transition more familiar? Is more familiar, more comfortable? Is that breath that's there during every meditation, during every time you practice, does that feel like a pillar of stability? Can you lean on your breath and use your breath for comfort while making this transition? And maybe in this moment, during this transition, ask yourself, does this transition need to be slow and thought out? Or does it need to be faster or smoother? Or are you okay with this transition from eyes open to eyes closed, from external to internal? Are you okay with taking that transition as it comes? Whatever mood you're in, whatever's happening today, however long it takes you or however long it doesn't take you, this particular time. I want you to think, how do you want these transitions to go? How do you want this transition to go this time? And how do you want this transition to go next time in the future? Can you create the intent that you would always like a smooth transition while simultaneously accepting it may not be smooth? Though that's your intent, sometimes it may be difficult to enter this space within you. Try to solidify this transition. Try to complete this transition by sinking into your seat, by taking one more deep breath in through the nose, feeling your belly and your lungs expand. And as you breathe out, feeling your shoulders relax, letting them come down to the sides, feeling your neck stretch, feeling your palms a little heavier where they sit. Try to sink into this transition. Try to complete that part of the transition. And now that you're here, now that you're arriving here, now that you've nested in this present moment, try to notice what comes up for you as you anticipate transitioning into the next part of your day. I want you to leave the present moment by considering what's about to come today. What is going to happen for you today? Even if you have no plans and it's nothing. There's always something. So what does nothing feel like if that's what's happening? Try to ask that of yourself and then return back to the present moment to see what arises from that question inside your body. What's coming at me today? How am I going to deal with it, handle it? And then return to listening. What does your body have to say about what is going to happen today? Is it hard to sit still? Does it make you anxious? Do you need to breathe through that to continue sitting still? To allow that to be with you? To already embrace that which is going to happen today, that which is happening now inside your body, just thinking about it. To pull it in already for a warm hug as you get ready to embark on that today. Perhaps you're imagining something positive, fun, healthy, something you're looking forward to today. Try to take note of what feels good in your body. Try to take note if any of these feelings mean anything, if there's wisdom in these feelings, if your body's trying to signal something to you that you could understand. Just between you and yourself, not what you think something means, not what you're told something should mean. Pick a feeling in your body right now and try to understand what it means to you, for you, with nobody else telling you what it should be. Try to potentially be grateful for any insights that come your way during your time in this space, during your practice with yourself in this space. And just as we're thankful for taking a glimpse into what's happening now during a transition into the rest of our day, I invite you to come back to the space. I invite you to come back to the group. I invite you to bring your awareness with us one more time as we conclude. And just start to wonder with your meditative mind and with your thinking mind, your conscious mind, how was that? How was a closer look at this transition? Was there any insights? Was it helpful to think about a transition? Or would you prefer to allow them to continue being automatic, going from one thing to the next? What works for you? And so with that, we would just conclude a look into this transition. How do you feel, Jeremy?
Thanks. I feel great. It was interesting how the transition can be so little and can be so big.
That's the thing. Yeah, cool. It's cool to look at the big picture, the small picture. You know, like you said, those little transitions in us, those protons, those atoms, the nucleus,
Yeah.
all that stuff. It's microscopic. Yeah, man. It's happening inside of us by the billions. And then you zoom out and it's like happening in the planetary system. They're the size of planets, round things vibrating around each other, like at speed, you know? So it can be that big or that small. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. As
Okay,
above, so
well, yeah. Yeah, as above, so below. Profound. Well, I love doing that with you. I love that. I love hanging out with you. I love you. This is great. I feel kind of good too.
yeah. Thanks.
Do you want to work on anything else before we go, or do you want to just sign off there?
I think that's probably a good space to sign off.
Okay. Okay, man. Well, I guess that's
And,
it.
and so for today, because Mike is hosting this from his computer, even though he's not here, we won't. We will be logging off of the live YouTube. And we like to thank everyone for joining.
Yeah. Super great. Much love. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. If you're listening to it later,
Morning,
hopefully this
everybody.
helps you. Yeah. Right.
All right. And so with this, we shall depart, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday.
Definitely. Take care. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.